Hello, hey, this is the second video on database, and this time I'm going to illustrate how to set up a default sort order and how to allow the specification of a particular order. So instead of using this actually in a database application, I'm just going to show you how to pass the get parameter and how to process the get parameter so that you know which way you should be ordering the entries. So let's go ahead and get started with this. I'm going to start with a blank one. So we'll say database1.php, and we'll make this as simple as possible. And you know what? I'm going to do the other one. I'm going to copy my template. And I think I made a template page somewhere, but I may have forgotten and overwritten it already. So that would not be good. Oh, there we go. Skeleton to database1.php. And here's database1.php. And what we'll do in this one is really just to allow the end user to specify which way things should be ordered and have an indication of which one is being is currently used as the ordering sequence. There are several ways to do this, but regardless of which way we do it, we need to rely on at least one single get parameter. And so as a result, I'm going to say str sort, or if you prefer, order, specification. And that is really just the string itself. So it's order spec, order specification. And at this point, we can now use this as the name of the get parameter. And then we can say if is set $_get $str order spec close bracket close. So what I specify here in between these braces indicates that a sort order specification is indeed already specified. Otherwise, we know that none is specified so far. There we go. So if I want to insert some comment, I can say order spec is specified. And then over here, we can say order spec is not specified. Now, how you want to assign the meanings to order spec, I personally just prefer to use numbers. So we can say order spec, and let's say you want to specify increasing order, and it is using the content ID. So we can say content ID is, let's say it's 10, order spec based on author, let's say it's 20, order spec, I think created, let's make that 30. So these are the main categories. And then we can say order spec increasing is 0. Order spec decreasing is 1. All right, so we'll take a look at how we utilize these numbers later on. If a order spec is if the order is specified, let's use these numbers and check which one is indeed specified. And is it increasing? Is it decreasing? And so on. So we can check that. The other one is to generate the necessary label so that people can click on it. So let's get rid of these. Or we can just print a message here. Okay, so that's something that some of you have reminded me several times to do. So we'll just say order spec is specified. Not a whole lot more than that. And over here, we just confirm that order spec is not specified. There we go. All right. And over here, I'm going to use a loop to generate all the 6 possible ways of sorting. So to do this, we can use a variable called field. It starts with 10, and we want field to be less than or equal to 30, which is the largest number here. And then after each iteration of this loop, we want field to increase by 10, which is not like the usual, because the usual increment amount is by 1. So inside here, we'll have another loop here that specifies for direction equals to 0. Direction is less than or equal to 1, and direction plus plus. So now we have 2 loops. One is embedded into the other one. So the outer loop controls which field are we using for sorting, and then the one inside here is for specifying are we increasing or decreasing. All right, so just for simplicity for now, we're just going to say which field we are talking about and is it increasing or decreasing. So inside here, we need a conditional statement. So if I put it here, so we can say if field is 10, else if field is 20, else if field is 30. And then for each one, we will assign the name of the field to a particular label. So we'll say field label is content ID. And over here, we say field label is, and I cannot remember the ordering already. Second one is author and then created. Okay. Author. And then the last one is created. All right. And then after that is determined, then we'll use a header, or it doesn't really matter, how we do this. We can just specify h1. Let's make it h2, and then we say $field label, and h2, just like that. And then inside here, we're going to use another conditional statement to check whether direction is 0 or 1. And right here, we specify what to print here. Oh, I just pressed the wrong key. Cancel, ignore that. All right, so here we use h3. Oops. Okay, h3, and when direction is 0, I think it's in increasing order. Let me check. Yep, it is increasing indeed. And when it is a 1, it is decreasing. All right. All right, so we'll save the file because I think I typed enough stuff already. We'll give it a try. So let's see. And this is under cisw410, and it's called database1.php. And you can see how it specifies that the order spec is not specified. And then we have all of these content ID, increasing, decreasing, author, increasing, decreasing, and then created, increasing and decreasing. Okay, so far we can generate all of these things. And the second thing we want to do, get back to the script, is instead of just printing a link, instead of printing a header, we also want to make it a link that has the proper get parameter specified as a part of the link. So let's see how we can do this. I'm going to print it right here, okay? And this is just going to be an anchor, href equals 2, and then in quoted double quotes, we'll specify the same page, which is database1.php, and then the question mark. And then the parameter name, we have already specified that as str order spec, okay, equals 2. And right here, we're going to end this double quote because, oh, wait, yeah, we can end here. And then we're going to do a concatenation because we have to do some calculation outside, which is just going to be field, which is 10, 20, 30, plus direction, which is 0 or 1. So now we are just putting these into parentheses because last time I learned that the concatenation operator may interfere with addition, and well, they can interfere with each other. And then we dot again to start the concatenation of the rest of it. So after this, we can end the double quote within the href itself, and then we close the begin of the anchor tag, and then we specify click here, and then we specify the end of the anchor tag, and this is the end of the double quote of the quoted string to be printed, and then a semicolon here. All right, so let's check out the script and see what it does. So now we have all of these click here, and click here, but it only applies to increasing. Decreasing doesn't have it because this really should be done after the print inside the conditional statement. So we should have put it here instead of putting it inside the branches of the conditional statement. Okay, got it into the wrong place. Refresh, and just by hovering over, we can see that this one specifies order spec equals to 10, 11, 12, 20, 21, 30, and we have 31 here. So if I click on one of these, you can see order spec is now specified, but we don't know which one is in fact specified. So that's going to be the next thing that we're going to do, is to indicate which one is indeed specified. To do that, we can match field plus direction by the time we get to the inner loop. By the time we get into this loop here, we can use the summation of field and direction and see whether the supplied order is the one that we want to use. And that's when this part is going to become useful, because when the order spec is actually specified, we want to remember what it is. So we can say order spec is $_get open bracket str order spec close bracket. So this way we are actually initializing order spec, and then over here we can say order spec equals to, and we have to give it a default. I'm going to give it 10 as a default, which is going to be based on content ID and in an increasing order. So this way, by the time we get into the loop, by the time we get to the inner loop here, order spec is going to be defined. We just need to find out, is it this one or not? And if it is this one, we are going to not create the anchor, and instead we are going to just print already selected. This is the current sorting order. So right here we can say if field plus direction equals to order spec, then we'll do it in one way. Otherwise, we'll do it in this way. In other words, if order spec is really the same as what we are printing here, we are not going to create a hyperlink because it is already sorted in this particular order. And we'll just print, in this case, we'll say sorting order in effect. Okay. So that we know that we are actually using that particular ordering here. Okay. So we'll we save the file, we go back to the browser, and we'll be careful here. We'll get rid of the get parameter and just run the script all by itself. So this way, it should specify that order spec is not specified, but because the default is content ID in increasing order, it says right here order in effect because it is the default. But on the other hand, if we click author decreasing, then you can see how decreasing here is the order in effect. So this is great because now we have a way to specify which one we want to use, or in the absence of the order spec, it has a default to fall back on. Now, which one you want to be the default is entirely up to you. All right, so given that this part is done, we need to specify a few more things. What we also need to specify in this case is we need to remember, which field is being used, and we also need to know which order is being used so that we can later on use that to determine how to modify the select query. All right, so here is where you can do it in several ways. You can just put a conditional statement here, and if this is the one already in order, then we'll just basically use the calculation based on field and direction, and then we use that to okay, what am I talking about? And then we'll use that to specify the strings that we need in order to be used in the select statement. Okay, my brain is not functioning very well right now. Okay, so now we specify order field is just going to be field label, which we have already set earlier in the outer loop. See right here, it's specifying the 3 possible fields. And we also want to specify order ascending or descending. And that part is not specified here. So we can use the mod operator here to figure out whether it's an odd number or an even number. So we can say field it's a order spec, which is the number mod. And I really should be modding with 10 because I can potentially specify up to 10 options here. But since we are only concerned about increasing and decreasing order, so we just modded it with 2. And if that is 0, we want to specify increasing. This is the ternary operator, where if the first part is true, the second part becomes the value of the entire expression. So now we specified the increasing or the ascending order. Otherwise, we specify the descending order, and we're quite sure whether it's DSC or DAS. Let's find out. So let's check out MySQL select. And look it up here. So when we specify order, it is DESC. That is the order. Okay. All right, so we go back to my script, and DESC is the descending order. And since we are on that page already, might as well check to make sure that ASC is in fact the ascending order. Yep, so ASC is the ascending order. All right, cool. So from these two statements, we have DESC. So we're gonna specify the S here as well. Okay, so when this is all done, then we can, this is where, having your loop going over more than the page becomes really a hindrance, because now in order to find the end of this loop, now in VI it's easy because I can just type close square bracket and then close curly brace, and that will locate the proper ending here. If your editor can give you bars to help you associate the begin brace and with the end brace, that's great too. But if you're not using one of those editors and your logic is spanning multiple pages, it becomes really difficult to find out, okay, what is the beginning brace of an end brace and vice versa. So over here, we can now I can use a print statement and specify field use for ordering is, and then we use backslash quote, double quote to begin an actual quote in the quoted string, and that would be order field, and ordering is whether it's increasing, ascending or descending, and then we'll use order ASC DESC to print that out. And we'll put it inside a paragraph tag or paragraph element. And remember to begin the paragraph element here. Okay, so let's check out the script and see whether it works or not. So once again, we want to test it again, but without any ordering specified. So the default is to use content ID, and the ordering is ascending. So we got that. And if you click on author decreasing, it will now say author and in decreasing order. So we got one more little thing to do here. Because the label is actually not, in the case of content ID, this is not the proper one because it is content underscore ID. So we'll fix that and go back here, get rid of the get variable. And now we have content ID increasing is the order in effect. And we also have the proper order here. I mean, the field for ordering, and also which direction we should be ordering here. So how you can integrate the logic of this particular script into your code so that you can allow increasing or decreasing based on the field is up to you. And you are more than welcome to copy and paste this code. I will make it available in Canvas, the source code itself. So I hope you find this one somewhat useful. It's a little bit more complicated than the most straightforward method to get this done. But on the other hand, well, it is just kind of handy. I might give you a even more, I would say, from my perspective, it is cleaner and more elegant, but it also requires a little bit more programming experience to really understand it and also utilize it. But for now, I'm just going to give you this database one so that you have something to begin with.